story can change. The weather can take a turn for the worst. And one score can lead to the upset of a lifetime. That's why Newsnet is working to bring you the latest throughout the day and into the night, with constant updates on developing stories and continuing coverage of the news that affects you. So be sure to join me, Remington Hernandez, every weeknight on Newsnet Evening Edition.
And happy Wednesday. This is your hour, and I'm your host, Cheryl Nutt. Really glad you could join us today. I think you will be too. You're going to learn a lot about Wichita. So let's take a look at today in history, and then I'll tell you about today's show.
May 25th, 1961. President John F. Kennedy challenges the United States to aim high in its Cold War space race with the Soviet Union.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
More than 8 years later, America reaches the moon when Apollo 11's Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin set foot on the lunar surface. 1977. Star Wars, the classic sci-fi movie written and directed by George Lucas, premieres. The story of Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader reshapes how Hollywood makes movies and spawns a wave of sequels. 2006. Former Enron execs Kenneth Lay and Jeffrey Skilling are convicted of conspiracy and fraud for the energy giant's downfall. Lay dies from heart disease a few months later, and his convictions are vacated. Skilling is sentenced to 24 years in prison. And 1992.
When I heard the new Pope was German, I thought, oh my God, Arnold can't be stopped, first governor. Now he is Pope. I can't believe it. I can't believe that. You've done this. Amazing.
Comedian Jay Leno begins his run as host of NBC's The Tonight Show, taking over from Johnny Carson. Today in history, May 25th. Camille Bahana, The Associated Press.
Well, stick around because coming up first, we have Vanessa Whiteside, who's here to talk about 100 things to do in Wichita before you die. You better get started on that list.
Hair, that's our business. We're Riverside Hair Station at the corner of 11th and Bidding. We're a cool, funky salon with modern styles and a relaxed atmosphere. Locally owned and operated in the heart of Riverside. Specializing in all hair services, we also offer tanning, nails, massage, waxing, and makeup. Gift certificates are always available. So come experience Riverside Hair Station at 816 West 11th or call 264-4807.
As the day breaks, so does the news. So while you're getting ready or making breakfast, the world is changing, and it doesn't stop when you walk out the door. That's why here at Newsnet, we work around the clock to bring you the latest developments. On today's top stories, what's happening in the world of entertainment, last night's scores, and your forecast. So be sure to join me, Victoria Idoni, every weekday on Newsnet Morning.
Closing a deal, that point when customers commit to buying whatever they're selling. Advertising sales agents sell advertising space to businesses and individuals to expand the public's awareness of products and services. They sell ads for online and print editions of publications such as radio, television, and more. Because their income and job security both depend on it, these sales agents invest a lot of their time building relationships with their customers. They research and analyze clients' needs and prepare creative, persuasive materials to encourage them to buy advertising. Many need to meet sales goals, so are continuously on the lookout for sources of new clients, making phone calls and office visits to interest them in advertising. Agents need to keep detailed contact and communication records and be prepared to draft advertising contracts for clients. They also need to represent their employer reliably and answer any questions a client may have. Good communication skills are essential for the field and a proven record of success in sales.
Welcome back to Your Hour. Joining me now is Vanessa Whiteside, and she is the author of a book called 100 Things to Do in Wichita Before You Die. And I've been flipping through here. There are quite a few things in here that I have experienced, but there's a lot that I haven't.
Well, good. I hope it inspires you to get out there and try new stuff.
Yeah. Well, because, like I told you before the show started, Ron and I don't travel. It's hard for us to get away. We just don't travel much. But we do like to do things here at home. Yeah. And so this is like a guidebook.
It's your staycation guidebook.
Yeah.
As such, throw it in the car.
So what inspired you to write this?
Well, I was approached by Reedy Press to write the book. They asked me if they thought I would be a good fit for it. The purpose of the book is to be inspirational for people that have either never been here or are new residents, or perhaps they live here and they, or maybe they feel a little uninspired, or they feel like they've done everything, and so this book gives them, that little nudge that they might need. So I was inspired to write the book by just being a native Wichitan and just loving the city where I come from. Yeah.
So what kinds of things surprised you when you, because you had to do some research.
I definitely did research. I mean, there's things in there that I thought I knew pretty well, and I would go revisit just to make sure I had all my facts straight. And I just learned a lot about just extra tidbits that you may not realize, or exhibits at museums that are permanent that I just barely scratched the surface. I learned more about Wichita's history, the people that founded, Douglas Avenue. I learned a lot about Chisholm Trail and all those good things. So it added some history to what I thought I already knew about the city. And then when it comes to newer attractions, there's always something to learn. There's,
Sure.
So there's some insider tips that I included at the bottom of some of those pages for you.
Well, for instance, Ron and I have noticed recently that there's a lot more activity downtown than there ever used to be. People actually living downtown, working there, and there's a lot of businesses that have just popped up recently downtown, and it's really cool.
I experienced last week, I went to a food truck rally, and it was in a parking lot of a church, and it was near, historic Delano. Parking was not hard to find, but it was a slight challenge because at the same time, the ballpark was getting ready for the Red Surge game, which is great. We drove down Douglas through historic Delano, and there were people sitting out in chairs, doing patio dining. The place was a buzz, and that continued as you went downtown to the east because people were getting ready for a concert at Intrust Bank Arena, and so it was awesome. Yeah. It was great to see everybody out.
Yeah, it really is. And even at night, we've driven downtown at night and seen a lot of people walking around. The streets are well lit, and people are walking around and doing things, and I love to see that.
Yes, me too. No, I think this book is for those people because we know they're the adventure seeker, the weekender who's willing to go out and just try something new or repeat an experience. But I think the book is also for people that are not inclined always to get out on the weekends or even during the weekday. There's things to do in there on weekdays. Not always have to spend money. There's some budget ideas in there, to inspire them to try new things too.
And how often have you heard people say, there's nothing to do in Wichita?
Of course. So that does come up. I just say those people aren't trying hard enough. Right. Or maybe they just haven't met me or seen the book yet. Right? Because I'll convince you otherwise.
Well, and not everything is free. I mean, I have to admit that, there's a lot of things that cost a lot of money to go do, but not everything does. And the nature of the beast is you're going to have to spend some money for some entertainment.
Usually, that's part of it, but there are museums that host free Saturdays in town. There are, the Great Plains Nature Center. You can just get out of your car after you park and just take a nice leisurely stroll. There's things that are more active for more, families. You want their kids to find things to go to do to burn off some energy. There's some pretty budget-minded things in the book that you can find to do too.
Where can people get a copy of this?
Yeah, so anywhere books are sold. Watermark, 8th Day Books, Barnes & Noble. And then a lot of the places that are featured in the book are also selling the book for me in their gift shop. So that's something to look forward to.
Very good. Well, you mentioned Exploration Place in there, and that's a cool place to visit.
Yes, and they have new exhibits, and they have new plans for future expansion.
Yeah.
So stay tuned to that, because that's going to be fun.
Dude, and I'm sure you covered the botanical gardens. I haven't.
You know it.
Yeah.
I couldn't leave it out.
I was going to say I haven't seen that yet, but I'm sure you covered it.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are places in the book that a local Wichitaner would say, you have to put that in. You did put that in, right? Yes, of course I did. However, there's some things in there that even locals have said, I didn't even know about this place. So it's the balance there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was excited about, because I started leafing through that and I thought, I've never been there.
Good.
So yeah. Well, it was such a pleasure meeting you today. So thanks for joining us today. Of course. And we'll be right back with Aaron Whitwire from
When your yard needs a cleanup and you need help, when your yard needs mowing and your neighbor's yard looks like this, your shrubs need some trimming, Wichita Lawn Care does it all. Commercial and residential lawn maintenance, fully insured, offering contactless billing to keep you safe. Fair, dependable, and on time, services to match the budget, excellent customer service, a Christian family business, highly recommended on Google. Wichita Lawn Care LLC, owner Adam Fry, 316-393-4162. We take pride in what we do.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. It felt like I never even had a say. But then you came along.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at nationalcasagal.org.
Welcome to Jim Morgan's Dry Cleaning. We really appreciate your business.
And we are Wichita.
Jim Morgan's Fine Dry Cleaning is a full-service dry cleaner and shirt laundry specializing in high-quality and friendly customer service. We pay close attention to details throughout the entire dry cleaning process. And with over 30 years of experience in the industry, your garments will be clean and pressed to perfection. Jim Morgan's Fine Dry Cleaning is truly a full-service dry cleaner. We clean anything from suits, dresses, trousers, comforters, to draperies. What separates Jim Morgan's Fine Dry Cleaning from the other dry cleaners is we only have one location, and Jim is here to wait on you personally and answer any questions, whether you're in our store or on the telephone. Jim makes sure personally that your special requests are taken care of.
Back to your hour. Joining me now is Eric Whitwire from MHA, which is Mental Health Association of South Central Kansas. I always lisp when I say that. And you wanted to talk to us today about how do we tell our kids, or how do we explain to our kids about the school shootings?
Yeah, kids are going to hear about this. There's no way around it. Kids are up on social media. Kids hear the news. Kids see our reactions to things. So if they know about it anyway, they're going to ask questions. They're going to be curious what's going on. And we as parents need to know how to breach that topic with them.
Yeah, and how do we breach that topic?
Well, it's not easy. I mean, certainly the answer to that question varies a lot by the age of the kid, obviously. There's a school of thought that will tell you that around anything before 6, 7, maybe 8 years old, that maybe it's okay to kind of shield our kids from that. You know, school's out, so they're not going to hear other students and teachers talking about it. And if we as parents do a decent job of, you know, putting our phones down or shutting off the TV, you know, which is probably healthy anyway, then, you know, maybe the kids really won't hear a lot about it. And so if we can kind of shield them and protect them from that kind of information, maybe that's okay. If they do have questions about it, I think not volunteering a lot of information is probably really healthy. Give them a one-sentence response and just kind of move on. And that's probably fine at that age group if we have to address that with them at all. Obviously, as kids get older, that's a lot harder to do.
Yeah.
They're going to have seen it. They're going to have heard about it. So I think at that point, one of the first things we have to do as parents is really get our own emotions and our own feelings under control first.
Our own fears.
Absolutely. Because if we're trying to have that conversation with a middle schooler or a high schooler and we can't even control our own feelings, all that does for the child is rationalize the fact that the world is scary, I'm never going back to school, and I'm just going to stay in my house and cry all day long. And that's obviously not what we want for our kids. We have to be able to get to a point emotionally where we can have that conversation with them very calmly, very objectively, answer and validate their questions and address their fears and concerns, but help them pivot to more productive means of addressing that issue.
Well, you know, the thing that always pops in my mind when I hear something like this, you know, and I was in the doctor's office yesterday when I first heard about it. And, you know, I don't have kids in school anymore, but I do have grandkids in school. And the first thought that pops in my mind is, oh my gosh, no one is safe.
Yeah. No, that's an easy place for us to jump. The problem is if our kids jump to that place as well, then their, you know, 11, 12, 13-year-old brains are going to embed that to the point where they're going to grow up and never be willing to go anywhere. So a really good place to pivot, especially, let's go back to when we were talking about like middle school and high school age kids. Open a conversation with, you know, you've probably heard about this, or, oh, I understand you've heard about this. What have you heard? What are your thoughts? Tell me about kind of what you're feeling about this situation. So it's a good way to initiate that conversation. When we do that, though, there's a risk that we're going to hear from our kids, I'm really scared, I'm really worried about going back to school. But there's a big difference between that sentence and I'm really scared, and I'm never going back to school.
Right.
If we start as parents allowing our kids to, you know what, you're right, let's not go back to school. All that does is validate that the world is not a safe place. And yes, I understand as adults we may actually feel that way, but if we start allowing our kids to stay home from school or not go anywhere because they're worried about this situation, that's not raising a healthy kid.
No.
If school was still starting, and my kid came to me and said, I don't ever want to go back to school, I'd still make them go. We still have to get them to, because otherwise, again, we're just validating the world is not a safe place. We need to be able to protect our kids from that situation. So I think a better response is something along the lines of, I understand your concern, but, and that but can be a lot of different things. That but can be, let's talk about the ways that people did handle that situation well. The teachers who laid their lives on their line to protect their students, the school resource officers who responded, the paramedics and police officers who responded. We can pivot to that. Or it can be but. Let's think about how we can be helpful. Sending notes to first responders, sending notes to other kids in that school, providing support for them. It could be but, you know, it can be but a lot of things. It can be but, let's talk about the you know, safety drills that your school runs and the locking doors that your school uses. Let's talk about all the ways that your school tries to make sure that this doesn't happen to you. So there can be a lot of other things on the other end of that but if we say but, you never have to go back to school again, that's not a protective way of handling that situation.
Well, and quite frankly, we really don't want a situation where everyone's sitting at home and hiding.
Right.
Because that doesn't accomplish anything.
No, absolutely.
you know, we need to have a healthy respect for security, but we can't just always assume that it's going to be there.
Sure.
We have to be cognizant of what's happening around us.
Yeah, and we have to do what we can to try to address it as parents. You know, someone was telling me literally just last night, I think it was in response to a conversation about this situation, that we've had 115 days, I think, of 2022, there have been, on average, every single day in the United States, 1.5 mass shootings.
Yeah.
This is a daily occurrence.
I know. And isn't that sad? We've almost become desensitized to it.
We are. I mean, unless, it hits really close to home, which, I mean, I live 2 minutes from the Excel plant up in Heston.
Yeah.
I drive through that intersection twice a day. That's really close to home for me.
Yeah.
But it either has to be really close to home, or there has to be something really abnormally sensational about the situation. The number of people, or how it happened, or something along those lines. If it's a fairly, I hate to use the term, but I have to, if it's a fairly run-of-the-mill mass shooting that barely meets the minimum of 4 or 5 people, you're right, we are entirely desensitized to it. We're the only developing country that has this happen on literally a daily basis. And we need to start asking ourselves why that is. What is, are we an inherently evil and bad country? No, I don't believe that we are. Literally, just on the drive to the studio just now, I heard a state senator in Texas, he was asked about whether or not the situation was fixable, and the first thing he did was pivot to mental health. And that is such an erroneous misconception about the correlation between violence and mental health, and yet it's where we go. Because I think as a country, we don't really look any deeper than that. It's low-hanging fruit, and we can blame mental health, and so let's move on and not fix anything else, and that's not the solution.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the solution is. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to think for themselves about what the solution could be and advocate for that. Just please don't jump on the mental health bandwagon if you're doing that.
Every weekend, ride with Get TV's Posse.
Saddle my horse.
Laredo.
You looking for trouble?
The Bolt Brothers.
Here come the brides.
Hondo.
I got a job to do.
Casey Jones. Father Murphy. Hawkeye.
I'll find him.
Maverick.
What do I have to do?
And Walker.
To me when and where?
Weekends under the big sky. All weekend, every weekend on Get TV.
Each weekend on KCTU 5.2.
I'm Morris Langerly, Chief Meteorologist at NewsNet. At NewsNet, we're working around the clock to bring you the latest weather conditions, right where you live and around the country. We're using the latest technology to bring you those conditions. If it's rainy, sunny, or even severe, you'll be prepared. Tune into NewsNet for the latest weather forecast at 12 and 42 past the hour around the clock, only on NewsNet.
8 years ago, my daughter called to say she was expecting our first grandchild. But I never actually heard her say that. And the first time my granddaughter called me Papa, I didn't hear that one either. Can you imagine? Oh, I know I lost some of my hearing, but I was embarrassed, too stubborn to admit that. For Father's Day a few years ago, Gina and Ryan bought me a Nano hearing aid. And my precious Ryan, I love hearing her call me Papa. I love hearing everything again.
What have you not heard by not wearing a hearing aid? You're going to have many more special moments in your life. Don't miss hearing a single one of them. Call Nano. Order your full pair of hearing aids for only $297.
1-800-279-6804.
Make today the day you finally start hearing better again with Nano hearing aids.
1-800-279-6804. 1-800-279-6804.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm smiling as always. As always, I smile because there's something to smile about daily. even through the midst of trials and tribulations and turmoil, there's something to smile about. I think Eric talked earlier from the Mental Health Association regarding the incident that happened and the loss of the lives of the children. That certainly is our topic today as well, the violence in this community, the violence in this world, and the things that are going on, and the fact that if we focus, I understand that there's a bill sitting in the Senate right now that's been in there for 2 or 3 years that could help children in school, but yet the senators have not signed this bill. And it's just, I don't understand what it is that's what's happening. We know that we are living in the last days. We know that time is winding down. We don't know when it is going to happen, but we do know that there's a situation happening right here. And while we're here, there's things that can be done to protect our children, our elderly. Protect us. I'm in that elderly category now. Protect us. There was also a situation right after the shooting that happened in Texas, around the corner at a store. There was a man who got out of prison, a white man got out of prison. He walked into this store, and this black woman was in the store, a younger black woman, had to be right in her mid-20s. When he walked through the door and saw her, he started using racial slurs and calling names. So already we know there's a hate situation going on. So he kept calling her names and stuff, and she just standing there, and she said, "Sir, can you please not talk to me? Can you please not talk to me?" And he kept going on and going on and going on. And so he got in her face and was calling her all kinds of names, and she put her hand up to tell him, "Please get out of her face." First of all, the store clerk was there, did nothing about it, okay? Did nothing about it, when he should have immediately called the police or asked the man to please leave the customer alone or leave. He didn't do nothing. Next thing she knew, the man then punched the woman in the face. This is a man, a big, greasy man, and he punched her in the face and was calling her names and just punching and hitting her. Then there was another customer walking by doing nothing. But yet we have police, even here in Wichita, that will ride down the street and bother the homeless, or see a drunk man on the sidewalk stumbling and bother him, but yet you are not available to protect and serve like your title says, but you want to do everything. And I'm not saying you're not doing it, but you're not doing everything that you could be doing in the right places. It makes my head itch, because we're not doing anything, and we're doing less, and then you have to jump through so much red tape to just get some assistance. Somebody breaking your business, you got to stay on the phone with 911. Then you got to just talk and wait till the police get there 30 minutes later. We take things in our own hands now because we don't feel we have that support. And I don't care what is going on in your life. Find someone to talk to. That's the key, being able to talk to someone. And not only that, I can't say it enough. You have got to get out and register and vote. I understand there was a threat made to Mayor Whipple and Brendan Johnson. I just heard about it before I left the office. A death threat. A death threat from somebody who's trying to make a difference and help people come together. I don't understand what is going on, and I understand that is about if you choose this police chief or something. What does that have to do with anything? We as a people have got to come together. We as a people have got to get out of our homes, out of the bed, out of the stores. We as a people have got to register. We as a people have got to vote. We as a people who have got to keep the word out there to look out for each other. We as a people have got to understand you can't control what goes on in my house. We as a people have to hold the politicians accountable. We as a people have got to hold our mothers, our fathers, our single mothers, our single fathers accountable. We as a people have got to take interest within our own selves and understand what we need or what we like and how we have to go about and get it. We cannot, within any justification, walk around and kill and fight and steal and beat just because. There has to be laws. There should be a police officer in every one of these schools in America. Don't tell me we don't have enough officers. Get your tail out and get some. We have got to have people in these schools, in the grocery stores, every grocery, in their malls. There should be police at all through the mall, even undercover. We have got to learn to start putting this power trip in the trash. And we have got to work together. We've got to find a way to do something. It's really fun.
Were you a victim of a high-pressure or dishonest timeshare sales agent? Were you misled and confused with what you were buying? Did the timeshare fail to deliver what you were promised? Do you feel that you overpaid and just want out? If you answered yes to any of these questions, we can help. We're Timeshare Compliance. Our team can legally terminate your timeshare agreement, ending the payments forever. With one simple call, we can help end the financial suffering.
Call 800-230-3818, 800-230-3818.
In a moment's notice, the day's top story can change. The weather can take a turn for the worst, and one score can lead to the upset of a lifetime. That's why NewsNet is working to bring you the latest throughout the day and into the night, with constant updates on developing stories and continuing coverage of the news that affects you. So be sure to join me, Remington Hernandez, every weeknight on NewsNet Evening Edition.
Have old junk cluttering up office space and laying around and wondering what to do with it? Give us a call. American E-Waste Recycling is located at 716 South Washington. Phone us at 316-871-9858. Come see Todd. We accept all household, yard equipment type, business items, and medical type items. Free pickups for schools and businesses. American E-Waste Recycling is located at 716 South Washington.
Your home is your castle, and it's your biggest investment. It doesn't matter if it needs new exterior paint, new siding, a sunny new deck, a kitchen update with wallpaper removal, or new cabinets with a granite top. Your home can be like new with a paint job or flooring. With 9 years experience and 5 years as a licensed insured business, Los Reyes Painting and Remodeling does residential or commercial work for a reasonable price. To get your free estimate to make your castle look like new, call 316-409-0000.
Well, kids are often really full of energy, but these last couple of pandemic years have taken a toll on some of our youth. How can you recognize if a child is burned out or is suffering a more serious mental health condition? A global survey just released finds a big gap in what parents say is needed to figure this out. While most think a student's access to mental health services in schools is critical, there's a disconnect because parents say only a fraction of schools provide any services at all. With nearly 2 decades of counseling experience, joining us to offer guidance and insight is Morgan Champion, School Counseling Services Lead for Pearson. Hi, Morgan. It's good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are in a mental health crisis, and it's not just our youth. A lot of people are having mental health issues right now. But this survey interviewed more than 3,000 parents on kids' well-being. So what were some of their key findings?
Sure. Well, we were actually in a mental health crisis prior to the pandemic even starting. So the pandemic has really exacerbated the challenges that our young people were already facing. And one of the things that we learned from our Pearson Global Learner Survey is that parents really want schools to prioritize the mental health of our young people, and that is driving the decisions about where they're enrolling their children. We found that nearly 2/3 of parents want children exposed to mental health awareness and resources as early as elementary school. And we also learned that 90% of parents are prioritizing the types of mental health services that schools provide, and that's where they're wanting to enroll their children. So as a professional counselor with Connections Academy in Pearson, this really tells me that we're heading in the right direction.
So what are some of the warning signs that parents need to look at? I know that sometimes, your kids are experiencing a little burnout, and that's kind of dismissed as not that serious, but I actually think burnout is serious.
You're absolutely right, and really making sure that you're in tune with your child's mood, affect, and behavior. It's a great way to gauge kind of what's going on with your child and how your child is doing emotionally. Some other things you can look for are changes in their eating and sleeping patterns, any rocky friend relationships they may have, and if they're giving you any concerning comments, such as feeling like they're a burden or potentially giving away their possessions, you definitely want to seek professional mental health support as soon as possible. You can also reach out to your child's school counselor because they're a great first step in having this conversation with your child, and they can also refer you out to some local mental health resources in your area.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. So homework and stress. I know for a lot of kids, homework is a really stressful situation. How much is too much?
Homework has long been a divisive topic among parents and students, and our survey actually showed us that 75% of parents want to see less homework for their children because they think it has a direct impact on their mental health and well-being. They're also wanting to see schools provide more extracurricular activities related to wellness, more physical fitness opportunities, and free mental health services for both students and staff members.
When it comes to homework, I don't like to take work home, from my job. I don't like to take work home, so it would stand to reason that the kids would rather have their evenings to be creative and have fun and not have to be concerned with hours and hours of homework. I totally agree with that. And summer vacation's right around the corner, so do you have any advice on how we can use this time to approach our children with the topic of mental health?
Sure. Well, summertime's a great opportunity to start implementing some healthy practices for your family. And one thing that I do with my own daughter is we practice daily affirmations. So saying things like, I can do this, I can handle this, I can face my fears. Those are not only positive messages that you can meditate on as a family, but they can directly impact your child's self-talk.
So, we want our kids to be resilient, and a lot of times, they learn to be resilient by having to handle certain situations. How can we help prepare them for that?
It's a great question, and what I always do is encourage parents to put themselves in their child's shoes. So even as adults, we're dealing with challenges every day that having a trusted advisor or even someone validating our feelings can really help us respond better when we're faced with a challenge. And children are naturally resilient, but making sure that your child is talking to you on a regular basis, and if your child doesn't want to talk to you, that's okay, but make sure that you're getting them in touch with someone who can help, like a school counselor or another trusted adult in their lives. If you are concerned, you can visit something like Mental Health America, where you can take a free screening resource on behalf of your child and kind of get a gauge as, is this burnout, something developmental, or something more serious that you need to seek professional mental health to deal with.
And what about technology? Is that playing a role?
Well, not all screen time is created equal. So if your child is, watching an animal documentary or something that is educational, it's certainly not the same as scrolling through social media endlessly. So I encourage families to implement some healthy boundaries when it comes to technology. Make sure that you know who your child's interacting with on social media, and make sure that you're in tune to your child's relationship with technology.
Okay. So where can we send our viewers to learn more, Morgan?
Sure. If you'd like more information on our Pearson Global Learner Survey, you can visit pearsonplc.com. And if you'd like some tips and resources to help your family, please visit connectionsacademy.com/emotionalfitness.
Okay. Well, it was a real pleasure visiting with you, Morgan. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And stick around because coming up next, we're going to talk to Asad Ahmed about travel tips, like one of the hotels, I can't remember which one we talked about, the Hilton maybe. Anyway, but that's coming up in just a couple minutes. Don't go away.
That's our business. We're Riverside Hair Station at the corner of 11th and Bidding. We're a cool, funky salon with modern styles and a relaxed atmosphere. Locally owned and operated in the heart of Riverside. Specializing in all hair services, we also offer tanning, nails, massage, waxing, and makeup. Gift certificates are always available. So come experience Riverside Hair Station at 816 West 11th or call 264-4807.
Every weekend, ride with Get TV's Posse.
I saddled my horse.
Laredo.
You're looking for trouble?
The Bolt Brothers.
Here come the brides.
Hondo.
I got a job to do.
Casey Jones. Father Murphy. Hawkeye.
I'll find him.
Maverick.
What do I have to do?
And Walker.
Just tell me when and where.
Weekends under the big sky. All weekend, every weekend on Get TV.
Each weekend on KCTU 5.2.
Welcome to Jim Morgan's Dry Cleaning. We really appreciate your business.
And we are Wichita.
Jim Morgan's Fine Dry Cleaning is a full-service dry cleaner and shirt laundry specializing in high-quality and friendly customer service. We pay close attention to details throughout the entire dry cleaning process. And with over 30 years of experience in the industry, your garments will be clean and pressed to perfection. Jim Morgan's Fine Dry Cleaning is truly a full-service dry cleaner. We clean anything from suits, dresses, trousers, comforters, to draperies. What separates Jim Morgan's Fine Dry Cleaning from the other dry cleaners is we only have one location, and Jim is here waiting on you personally and answer any questions, whether you're in our store or on the telephone. Jim makes sure personally that your special requests are taken care of.
Well, as summer quickly approaches, many are seeking respite from day-to-day responsibilities in favor of convenient and effortless vacations at dreamy destinations. In fact, AAA data reveals that summer travel bookings have increased in popularity over the last year and are even beating pre-pandemic volumes. And one summer getaway trend is all-inclusive vacations, which take the guesswork out of planning and have been gaining popularity as travelers seek convenient, personalized, fulfilling, and effortless travel experiences. And joining us today to talk about that is Asad Ahmed, Senior Vice President of Commercial Services, Americas for Hyatt Hotels, and he's going to talk about that. Hi, Asad. It's good to have you here.
Good morning, Cheryl. Wonderful to be with you.
So let's talk about all-inclusive vacations. What does that really mean, and what should we be looking for when we're trying to choose one?
Well, Cheryl, I think you actually summarized it really well in your opening. The essence of all-inclusive travel really is the simplicity and ease of everything that you need to do when you travel or vacation. So beginning with the process of exploring a destination, actually booking the experience, but then everything that happens when you land in destination, being able to seamlessly arrange pickup from the airport, get yourself to the hotel, all the experiences that you would have at the hotel itself as well, and having the ability to work with the hotel team or through the booking process in arranging and managing excursions if you want to explore the local market. So everything that you would typically look to do around a vacation where you're exploring a new destination or going someplace to relax, the multiple aspects of that experience, pulling that together very easily and conveniently is really the charm of an all-inclusive vacation. And then also having the ability that once you are in the hotel, most of what you experience there is covered under that pricing, which makes it a much easier experience holistically as well.
Sure. So what are some of the top trends that you're seeing for summer travel?
Well, Cheryl, we're really excited about what we're seeing for summer travel here at Hyatt because the demand is strong, as you alluded to with some of your data up front, even compared to 2019. When you look at Memorial Day, 4th of July, the Labor Day weekend, we're seeing the demand is anywhere from 15 to 25% above what it was for those same periods pre-pandemic in 2019. And when you look at resort destinations, those numbers are even higher, in some cases being 60 to 85% higher than they were pre-pandemic. So those things indicate that the demand is strong, but as I mentioned, folks are not just traveling and booking for around the corner Memorial Day, they're looking at the 4th of July and even kind of bookending the summer travel period with Labor Day bookings being super high as well.
Sure. Gotta get that last gasp of summer in before you have to go back to school or work. So, what advice do you have for travelers that want to get the most out of their summer vacations?
Well, the all-inclusives are a great option for the reasons we just mentioned, and what's even better in terms of the all-inclusive offerings that we've got here at Hyatt. Just a couple of weeks ago, we launched our inclusive collection, which includes 9 brands across different stay types. So you've got everything from adult-only offerings with Hyatt Zilara or the Secrets brand, for instance, and then you've got much more family-friendly opportunities with brands like Hyatt Ziva or Dreams. And so those allow you the opportunity to really curate the vacation and the holiday, whether you're going for a long weekend or a week-long period, to take advantage of all those experiences under the all-inclusive umbrella. But we've also got great offerings as many of the urban markets around the country are seeing recovery, whether it's New York, here in Chicago, Austin, Texas. So whether you want to get on a plane and go someplace where you can relax and take in the beach and the sun, or you want to get into the car and get something a little bit more local and closer to home for a quick weekend getaway, we've got options across all of those different opportunity types.
Very cool. So where can we go to learn more about them?
Well, if you go to Hyatt.com/offers, you first of all will be able to learn about all of the different brands that Hyatt has, whether it's the all-inclusives or some of the more traditional hotel branded offerings. We've also got great offers for you in some of those destinations. For our World of Hyatt members, for instance, if you look at summer travel for participating all-inclusive hotels, you can get 5,000 bonus points on stays of more than 3 nights. So when you go to Hyatt.com/offers, there's a lot of education and a lot of value to help you really maximize your summer travel experiences.
So it's probably worth the research.
Most definitely, and book early.
Very good. Well, Assad, it was a real pleasure. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Pleasure to be with you, Cheryl. Thank you.
You know, I've mentioned before that Ron and I don't go anywhere. We seldom get away because it's just hard for us to get away. But when it comes to travel, sometimes you have to research where you're going to get the best deals. And sometimes that research kind of sucks all the joy out of the vacation to begin with. I don't know, but we'll be back with a little more hours. Stay with us.
When your yard needs a cleanup and you need help. When your yard needs mowing and your neighbor's yard looks like this. Your shrubs need some trimming. Wichita Lawn Care does it all. Commercial and residential lawn maintenance. Fully insured, offering contactless billing to keep you safe. Fair, dependable, and on time. Services to match the budget. Excellent customer service. A Christian family business. Highly recommended on Google. Wichita Lawn Care LLC. Owner Adam Fry. 316-393-4162. We take pride in what we do.
Hair, that's our business. We're Riverside Hair Station at the corner of 11th and Bidding. We're a cool, funky salon with modern styles and a relaxed atmosphere. Locally owned and operated in the heart of Riverside. Specializing in all hair services, we also offer tanning, nails, massage, waxing, and makeup. Gift certificates are always available. So come experience Riverside Hair Station at 816 West 11th or call 264-4806.
Welcome back. Well, I believe this weekend the movie Top Gun Maverick opens, and that's one of the movies Ron and I really want to see. But Ron's got a video from YouTube that talks about the spoilers for this movie, and he swore him down it didn't spoil anything for him. So let's take a look at that video.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Time to Spoiler. Today we're going to ride into the danger zone for Top Gun Maverick. It's the sequel to the hit 1986 film Top Gun, which shot Tom Cruise to stratospheric stardom and left us with movie quotes that have lasted the test of time.
I feel the need for speed.
Ah yes, that ever unsatiated need for speed. Finally, we have a sequel. This goes without saying, but Tom Cruise is back as naval aviator Pete Maverick Mitchell. This movie is all about the hotshot fighter pilot and picks up after what we assume is a storied career in the Navy, where, despite his brilliance, he's never moved up the ranks.
I managed to shoot down 3 enemy planes in less than a year. You can't get a promotion, then retire. Despite your best efforts, you refuse to die.
Now a trainer at the famed flight school Top Gun, we learn from the synopsis that he must soon confront the past while training a new squad of graduates for a dangerous mission that demands the ultimate sacrifice. Sounds serious.
Good morning, aviators. This is your captain speaking. Today's exercise is dogfighting. 2 versus 1? You gotta be kidding.
It is directed by Joseph Kosinski, who Cruise previously worked with on Oblivion. Speaking to Empire, he promises an authentic, visceral, and intense experience. In so many ways, he's still the guy that we remember from the first Top Gun. He keeps that old ninja under a tarp in the hangar, and he still wears those Ray-Ban aviators. He's the best at what he does, and he's given his whole life to aviation. But that has come at a personal cost, and Maverick has to confront some things from his past and reconcile with them. It's a rite of passage story, much like the first film was, but this is a man now at a different stage of life.
Your reputation precedes you.
I have to admit I wasn't expecting an invitation back.
They're called orders, Maverick.
Val Kilmer is back as Tom Iceman Kazansky, the cocky, smooth as ice pilot who competed with Maverick the best in class in the original flick.
Figured it out yet? What's that? Who's the best pilot?
We have yet to see Kilmer in any of the trailers, despite confirmation he is in the film. According to his autobiography, he begged to be in it. Kilmer took part in the film after tracheotomy surgery required as part of his battle with throat cancer.
I mean, that is not how I found it.
Yeah.
It's improving 7 all the time. But I had a suggestion, which would be one of the only ways that the character could be portrayed.
With no reference to Iceman in the trailers, some fans have speculated that this means he dies early in the film. Could this shot of a military funeral be Iceman's? And this pin with outspread wings a nod to the one worn by Iceman when he graduated in the original film? From the trailer, we can see that there are a few clear nods to the first film, like the volleyball scene. Ooh. The bar scene. Oh yes, that scene. And the helmetless bike ride scene. Classic movie scenes. This behind-the-scenes footage of Tom Cruise and Jennifer Connelly on a bike drove fans nuts.
Where did Joe wash? Oh, shit! Come on up, man! We're out of control this.
Now, in the original film, Maverick would lose his best friend Nick Goose Bradshaw in a tragic training accident. It looks like this part of the narrative returns. Miles Teller plays Lieutenant Bradley Wooster Bradshaw, the son of Nick Goose Bradshaw and Carol Bradshaw. 4 years old when his father died, he looks like a chip off the old block. He also seems to harbor a grudge and blames Maverick for his father's death. Long simmering drama. Now, could there be another familiar link in the film? Not much is known about the character Hangman, played by Glenn Powell, who features in the trailer. One theory is the pilot student is Iceman's secret son. Another theory suggests he is Maverick's son. What we can see from the trailer is his positioning as a rival to Teller's character Rooster, mirroring the rivalry and competition between Maverick and Iceman in the original film.
Maverick, it's not your flying. It's your attitude.
Plenty of intense rivalry on the cards, and with the huge expectations of making a sequel to such an iconic masterpiece, one might forgive the actors if they were ever overwhelmed, but they found a way to keep things in perspective.
Down here, if scenes were a little intense, I would just start playing like the Top Gun soundtrack while Tom was talking or something. Some of the stuff is really intense and really dangerous, but every time Miles played the Top Gun theme song, it brought it back into perspective and got us hot and heavy in all the right ways.
Of course, women's roles in the Navy have changed since the 1980s. Say hello to Equality and Monica Barbaro. She plays a sassy, determined fighter pilot, callsign Phoenix, who won't let anything get in the way of her goals. One cast member not returning is Meg Ryan. Her character, Carol Bradshaw, Rooster's mother, will be played by Jean Louisa Kelly.
Tell me all about the time you went ballistic with Penny Benjamin. Did he? And one admiral's daughter.
So, who is Penny Benjamin? The Admiral's daughter is mentioned in passing in the first film, but gets some lines in this one as the love interest. Jennifer Connelly plays Penny Benjamin, a bar owner, single mother, and the daughter of a former admiral. It seems that Maverick rekindled that loving feeling with the Admiral's daughter. Of course, Connelly's character means that Maverick's relationship in the first film did not withstand the test of time.
Is that right? That is right.
We will not be seeing Kelly McGillis return to the film as Charlie Blackwood. Bye-bye, Charlie. But hey, do you remember the sexy theme song that came on every time we saw her though? The film won an Academy Award for Best Original Song with that Berlin song, Take My Breath Away. That is of course another thing that has stood the test of time, the movie's soundtrack. It also gave us the Top Gun anthem. And Danger Zone. And it looks like Kenny Loggins will revisit his classic hit Danger Zone and re-record it for the new film.
So, there you have it. Now that you've seen that, you probably don't need to go see the movie, do you? I do. Anyway, so we'll be taking care of that this weekend. Want to remind all of our viewers that Mouthy Broads airs tonight at 7 right here on 5.2. It'll be Kim Garcia and Jamie Whitfield and myself. One of the first topics we're going to discuss is the school shooting that took place in Texas yesterday. It's impossible not to talk about that. But that's not all we're going to talk about. We'll introduce some other topics as well. And of course, we welcome your calls at 316-337-5501. So I hope you enjoyed today's Your Hour. We enjoyed bringing it to you. We'll be back tomorrow at noon with more Your Hour. And then tonight at 7 with Bobby Bob. Thanks for watching. Have a great one.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going.
KCTU